Welcome to MMO Grinder Backtrack, where I take a look at games I've reviewed previously to check out what's new. Today in November of 2013, I'll be revisiting Rusty Hearts, the 3D Gothic anime-style beat-em-up that I reviewed in Episode 9. Rusty Hearts underwent one of those infamous Reborn revisions where the name of the game gains a subtitle, but as I said in my Requiem review, subtitles are stupid, so forgive me if I don't tack on Reborn every time I say Rusty Hearts. One thing you'll notice right away is the overhaul of the opening's interface. While the original is quite stylized and cool, showing the original 4 characters walking in a desolate field of floating embers, but now it's just pretty generic. There's pretty much a good reason for this, but I can't say I don't miss the old style. At the very least, it's much easier to choose your character now, and something you might have noticed is that there are a lot more characters. Kinda. Rusty Hearts refers to these as alternate avatars, and yeah, that's pretty much what they are. Distaff counterparts to the existing characters, containing the exact same skill and weapon sets. When first implemented, the first one to arrive was Mei-Lin Chen, the alternate for Tude, and no real special treatment was given to the avatars, but since then each avatar has been given their own mini-story, and they all start in a separate area with simultaneously more and less interesting starter dungeons. Franz has 2 alternates for some reason, with the S&M vampire girl Roselle Vergarius and her gothic Lolita sister Layla. The story behind both characters, at least at start, seems to involve them searching for each other, which I find amusing when someone controlling the other character runs past me while I'm playing. Angela's alternate Edgar Grosser appeals to the Shota crowd by appearing as a very young boy, despite being the anime classic of much older than he looks. His animations crack me up as he seems very unwieldy and clumsy with his weapons. But if you're going to give me the choice between a clumsy boy or a scythe-wielding busty redhead, my options are pretty much sealed. Tude's only alternate is a Cheongsam-clad super doki funtime kawaii martial artist desu, the aforementioned Mei-Lin Chen, also rocking the same mysterious past and cursed arm angle that Tude has, but not exactly looking the part. In a bout of unfortunate, while there is an alternate for Natasha in the way of Ian Jablonski, he's not been implemented in the North American game. The fact he was announced around this time last year, and the serious lack of updates and news from the Rusty Hearts front have a lot of players wondering if he ever will. All of the secondary avatars used to be cash shop only, but as of now you can create any of these characters for free. While the new tutorial area is a nice addition and break from the original sewer area is still available through the normal characters, they're a fairly no-frills set of forests and seriously clash with the color scheme and aesthetic that's been set by this game's normal gothic architecture. Also, the final area boss of a fairly human-sized fairy doesn't really hold a candle to the giant mutant lobster boss of the other area. Oddly, I still think I'd rather play through these areas than the sewers. While avatars added nothing in the terms of gameplay, there are now 3rd weapon sets available for each character. Franz, Roselle, and Layla have access to the speedy twin sword set. Angela and Edgar have access to the massive spear-like glaive, capable of attacking large groups of enemies at once at the sacrifice of its speed and lacking the scythe's charge move system. Tude and Mei-Lin get the demon hands for more steady attacks at a closer range, and finally Natasha gets the weapon bag, an odd suitcase that contains various projectile weaponry. The power system has been reworked to offer more choices in your skill tree, and even allow you, thankfully, to try out all 3 weapon types before you're asked to commit to one. Another thankful addition being the requirement for choosing a focus moving down to level 10 instead of the former and fairly deep level 20. Just like before, once you've chosen your focus at level 10, your points are reset and you can reassign them as you wish. Keep in mind, if you haven't played in a good while, there's a chance your points will be reset anyway since the skill trees have been revamped. There's also a lot more options for costume crafting instead of just unlocking pieces during the story as the game used to do. You can now purchase patterns at some NPCs and gain access to more patterns the higher level you reach. Also added shortly after the review was a pet system, which originally required you to reach a pretty high level of 36, but is now granted at a quest near level 10. The quest pet appears in the form of a seed and must be equipped and brought into dungeons to earn experience and eventually become a combat pet. Alternatively, there's also former cash shop pets that you can now purchase with in-game cash and grant you a secondary inventory if you're willing to fork over the $300k to get one. I'm concerned for the future of this game, not because anything contained within it, it's still a very slick, very fun and stylish action brawler, but more that even after shortly reviewing the game initially, I was informed by many that they felt the publisher was actively trying to kill the game, or at the very least just abandon it. As I'd mentioned earlier, Natasha's counterpart was announced over a year ago, and the last content patch for the game was in April of this year. Even though the Rusty Hearts community has been all too expectedly within MMO communities, parroting the "this game is dead" mantra for over a year now, and the community managers have been tossing in promotions and specials on occasion, I can't help but feel that there might be some reason for concern. I'll be sure to check back with this game and others in more episodes of MMO Grinder Backtrack. Oh yeah, the game is still about the grindiest of all the beat-em-ups, voice acting still constantly clips over itself, and later dungeons become more annoying and maze-like than actually fun. Some things never change.